Good beverage there, Linda.
What was that?
We're live. What's up, Kingdom of Rock? This is Matt Gibson, and I am here in the same location that I'm always in recently because of the COVID-19 shutdown in our country and the world. But we're musicians, and we're going to get through this, and especially when we got great friends like Michael Molenda, my co-host for today. How's it going, brother?
Hey, how's it going? And hopefully we have a real informative and awesome show today. Not that we don't always try to have informative and awesome shows, but we've got Leighsa Montrose, who was Ronnie Montrose's wife, and they were great friends of mine back in the day, and she continues to be a great friend of mine today. And she's also been extremely helpful, for kind of mind health and things like that, which I thought she'd be an awesome guest to have today, because I'm noticing in my relations that people are just starting to fray a lot more, as it looks like this pandemic is not going to end by the end of the year. It could go on to the middle of next year or whatever. We all have musician friends who are, how do I make money? Do I have to retrain myself to be a computer programmer because I'm never going to play guitar again? And Leisa's got a lot of really awesome, things you can do and resources you can do to kind of keep your mojo together. So first, hello to Leisa.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Leisa. Welcome.
Hi, Leisa.
For having me here.
And then we're also pretty honored to have Linda Arcello-Earl here, who is an artist manager, most prominently for the awesome vintage classic, just awesome band Foghat. Also married to Mr. Earl, who is the awesome drummer of that band and has been since the beginning, right? He founded the band, right?
He did.
He did. Yep. And, that band is still playing. If it wasn't for the pandemic, they'd be in your town today rocking out.
That's right.
And I think that Linda provides a lot of other types of resources as far as, what bands can do right now. We've had some of that conversation before, but we haven't really had an artist manager on here. And also she has some interesting perspectives on, with us now having to use social media to get the word out about what we're doing and to take care of our communities, how that can be a harmful thing in a lot of ways as well. So welcome, Linda.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Welcome, Linda.
Hi.
So Matt, how would you like to start?
Well, let's obviously, we're in a global pandemic, and I feel like I have to apologize every time I say that, because it's just like Groundhog Day again. But that is the truth. And for some people, it's getting a little bit better. For some people, it might be getting a little bit worse. There's a lot of varying degrees of success and suffering going on in the world. Things are shifting, and everyone's trying to compensate and pedal the bicycle to keep up, or wait it out, or whatever it is that they're doing, So, but in the meanwhile, we're trying to stay busy, trying to do things, like Linda, let me ask you, what is a band like Foghat doing right now, like to stay busy, so to speak, or to keep this time valuable during the waiting period as all these venues open up?
Well, I can speak. Roger, my husband, this is his first summer off since 1966, I think,
Wow.
Because we're always on the road, always traveling. He comes home maybe 1 or 2 days a week. I'm on the road a lot. So he stays busy. He practices every day. 74 years old, and he's still learning new stuff. He's got stuff. He's learning new things on drums. He practices every day. He's walking. He's riding his bike. He's listening to music. He's making the most of the time. He's probably the most positive person I know. That's one of the reasons I married him, because, my other guys, Charlie just bought a new house earlier this year. He's working on his house. He's making the best of things. Brian is also an engineer, so he's working with other people, working on music. Everybody's doing stuff. My attitude, our attitude, this is going to end. We're going to be out playing again next year. I said we're going to be busy as hell, so enjoy any time you have off right now, because we're going to be busy when this is over. personally, I think we all are pretty much on the same page in our family that it's a waste of time just to worry about it because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know, and we don't want to waste any precious days just worrying about it. We just need to get through it, come out on the other side, and make the most of each day. So that's what we're doing. I know there's a lot of people that are having much harder times than we are. A lot of times they don't even know how they're going to put food on the table. I mean, I can't speak for that. I empathize with that, but in our world, we're trying to make little differences whenever we can, and help whatever people we can on a one-to-one basis, so.
Well, to Leighsa, let's say that someone is starting to fray a little bit. What kind of coping mechanisms have you found when you're counseling people that are the most effective?
I think the number one thing is to check your breath, because that shallow breathing can bring on stress, compound the stress. So if you can do simple things, I mean, all of these things are so simple, but just grab some little gems like the breathing and exercise. Get up, try to keep a routine together. Get out there like Roger and play, or walk, ride your bike. Those two pieces right there are pivotal. I think they're very important, and those are just like the cappers of it all.
Hey, Leighsa, can you move your mic just a little bit closer to your mouth?
Is that better? Like that?
Yeah, we just want to, if you can turn your volume up a little bit, that would be awesome too.
Is that any better?
Well, that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, much better.
I'm off speaker too, so I gotta pump it up.
Mm-hmm.
So just those two things are important. There's meditation, there's hydrating, eating well, not doing isolating with substances, those kinds of things. But I think breathing and exercise are number one.
Is it difficult sometimes if you've had friends who are going through this and they're just freaking out, to actually get them to stop freaking out? Because I think that's kind of a problem when you tell, well, you should breathe or you should exercise, and sometimes you run into people that are just like, I don't want to. I just it's hard to get to them.
Yeah, I mean, they say that it's not a time to learn when the brain is in stress mode, when it's on survival. So notice that. I think pay attention to your mind, what's going on in your mind, and like I like to say, is don't believe everything you think. It's not going to help you. Just look at it kind of like passing by, fluttering by. Oh, there's another one. And anxiety is real, depression is real, stress is real. So like Linda said, don't do things that are going to compound it. Worrying is future thinking, and it's going to make things worse for you. So let's just stay calm, breathe, and be there for each other. Reach out to another person if you need to, or call your friends if you think they're having a time. Check in on them. Maybe all someone needs is to just have them be listened to.
Well, one of the things we talked about on that note of reaching out, where with social media being so important for bands to keep the communities informed about what they're doing or not doing, and had an interesting interaction about how it's also a two-bladed sword, so to speak, because social networking, especially now with everybody being so under pressure and divisive, it can, even the most seemingly innocuous posts can be not so innocuous out in the community.
Right.
I think that's what's bothering me the most right now, is the lack of civility out there. Roger and I were talking last night, and he came up with the word civility, and I said, that's what's missing. People are not civil to each other anymore. And I think even more so than the virus, and I told you this the other day, Michael, that's what's really, really bothering me and bothering us, because we're a band. We've been around since 1971. We've been around for a long time, and we're entertainers. We're here to make things a little easier for people. Music is supposed to be something that makes things better for you. It's an escape for you. So we don't post anything political on our Facebook page. We try to stay out of politics. I don't really care what your political leanings are. Well, I do, but I don't, not on Facebook.
Mhm.
And the nastiness that is coming out in people right now, the divisiveness, is bothering me more than the virus. The other day, we're friends with Richard Williams from Kansas, the guitar player, and his wife, Debbie, posted something the other day because somebody posted something so vile on his Facebook page. He just shared the post to save the stages. I mean, we all have real jobs, we're not, in some kind of fake business. Everybody works very hard. Musicians work very hard. Everybody thinks it's this glamorous business that we don't really do anything, but we work really hard. I'm going to read this really short thing that this guy put on Richard's page. He said, "Don't really care because you, Richard, only care about a paycheck from venues. Meet and greets, and it's time to face it. It's over. Nice that you really care about vendors, promoters, ushers. Yeah, right. You are in a business and reap lots of money off us real working concert goers. Time for you entertainers to pony up and support them yourself, not us. I bought all your records. Sorry, lost all respect for you. Bow out and retire." I mean, really? Really? I mean, we had this guy on our page too. He said, just retire. You're just in it for the money. I don't understand people being so vile when you're just sharing something about saving the stages and saving people. I'm beyond words on some of this stuff. I just don't get it.
Well, I mean, it is strange, for someone to assume that any artist or actor or painter or whatever is just doing something for the money. I mean, of course you have to make a living, but that kind of post just seems to say that, well, that's all you really care about. You're just trying to soak more money out of the public, which is crazy.
When we made these masks, okay, we made Foghat was always known for their mustaches back in the day. Roger had the mustache and the Fool for the City album. So we made these masks. They're funny. They're funny, people. They're funny. We posted it on our Facebook page. Somebody called us a effing socialist a-holes, slaves. I mean, the names we were called for having mustache masks were just unbelievable. Roger and I were just stymied by the whole thing. I just don't understand.
I think people are just so polarized, and it's not like polarized like, well, I disagree with you on this point, I don't disagree with you on this. It's like everybody, I don't know if the media is doing this, if it's human nature, but everybody is just like, I am completely on this side, and all of those people on the other side are stupid and wrong and mean. And then the other people are doing kind of the same thing. I'm completely right on this side of the fence, and everything they say is wrong. And it's like, I think people are in this survival, fear-based, black and white panic mode right now, more than usual. I think we're always that way as humans to a certain point. But I think right now, because of the stress, especially, blue collar workers that are, like just very dependent on the job, and it's like for all the income, so I don't know. I mean, I really don't like to hear stories like what you're telling, Linda, because it is very unnecessary. And it's not like you're going to go, oh, I should retire. Let's just throw in the towel, guys.
These guys like to play. They enjoy playing,
Yeah.
I don't know what we need to heal that, though. Something has to be done. Like we have friends that we don't agree with what they, we don't have the same beliefs they do, but we still like them. They're still our friends, but it's become so divisive. and so nasty. We have over 1,000 people blocked on our Facebook page, banned and deleted, banned because they've said such nasty, nasty things. Not even necessarily about us, but just nasty, and I just don't understand why people have to be that nasty, because everybody's got a forum now with social media. Everybody's got a forum, and I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem. Yeah.
Well, it's also tough to put artists to task for keeping the venues going. I mean, this is a huge problem, and I know Leighsa, you work with Sweet Relief and a lot of other initiatives to try to help musicians who are out of work even before the pandemic. But it is interesting because there are some people that are reaching out and going, Elton John should keep this club alive, or and it's kind of like, well, it's weird. I mean, but I don't know how Elton John or any other artist, what are you supposed to do? There's so many clubs that are in danger right now. There's so many restaurants that are in danger right now. There's so many everything. It's like, you can't just save the whole world and throw money at it. It's going to take a different, it's going to change everything, apparently.
Right. I think too, we have to advocate for ourselves, right? And we've got to remove judging. I was thinking about it today, and I wrote something, and I wanted to read it to you guys. I thought, what isn't canceled? Love is not canceled. So let's be kinder to our community, but let's be kinder to each other. We all have validity in our opinions, but we don't need to judge one another. And I thought about all spiritual philosophies. We're all talking about the same topic. We're all talking about the transcendence of suffering, right? And many of us are in this survival attack mode. We're reacting rather than responding. And I keep coming back to that, reacting, responding. Which one am I doing at any given moment throughout the day? I do it too, so I catch myself. But I think, what if just for today, just for this moment, give ourselves some time, give ourselves a break, and not judge any part of this, not judge COVID, strangers, the others, anyone different than us, anyone, it could be our friends, our families, and if we could just try to live without this veil of the pandemic for a moment, I think that gives us a moment to like step away from it and observe it rather than just being right in it. It gives us a little bit of freedom from suffering, from anxiety, from stress. And trust me, I'm thinking about everyone in COVID that is impacted by it, that may be ill, maybe having a hard time with work, or trying to find it hard to even navigate through the days. So I do feel for those people. And but I think if we spend our days just judging, we lose precious moments of being and just living and being grateful for all that's here, for all that we have, for the present moments, right? For the walks that you and Roger get to take, right, Linda? For the beautiful images that you put out on your pages where the swans are being born in your community. I mean, I look forward to that. So it's like walking our dogs, walking up the ocean, whatever it is for us, take a look around us and see what's good, and I think that gives us a moment, like I said, to observe and be in acceptance of what is. And it doesn't mean that we're making it right. It doesn't mean that we agree with any of this should, or that we agree with any part of this. I mean, none of us want to be in this. But I know that we're going to get through it. And I know that the more that we come together and show support in our community, I mean, that's the key piece. So we've got to stop judging each other and be there for them.
Leighsa, you said a word, adaptable, which is like the key word there. You are probably one of the most adaptable women I've ever met in my life after what you've been through. Well, you are. And, life throws curves at you sometimes, and you have to adapt. You can't be crushed by everything that life throws at you and just fall apart, and Leighsa certainly has adapted. I mean, we don't even have to go there, but and I have a couple of friends that are really struggling with, terminal cancer right now. I mean, they've certainly had to adapt in their lives. Their life is not the same, so things change. And I think that, yes, it's a tough time right now. Yes, it's weird. We have a pandemic. So I read a thing in Rolling Stone the other day, something a tenth of the size of a grain of salt has brought the world to its knees. Okay, all right, we'll get through it. We've gotten through this, but we have to get through it individually too, and you do have to adapt. There's, whether you start reading or listening to music more or walking or whatever you're doing, you just can't sit back and complain about it, because it just makes it worse, and I mean, the people that really have things to worry about, I understand, and we're there to help. I mean, we're here to help anybody we can, and we're doing more trying to help on individual bases. Like I said, we have a lot of musician friends that have no income at all, and they're doing the streaming, and they have their little PayPal thing, so we're trying to help people that we as we can.
Yeah.
But to just rail against the machine all the time, and then just complain all the time, where's that going to get you but closer to your own demise?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people, and my mentor Grant Cardone wrote about this in one of his books, where when people have an intense reaction to you, like a negative reaction, like, why are you doing that? That's the dumbest thing ever. Or why don't you just retire, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
It's not so much against you. It's them sharing with you their own doubts and fears about the situation. And so they're trying to, like, as the building's burning down, they're trying to describe and process the experience for their own benefit. And so, like, it's kind of weird. I just moved to LA in September from Virginia, and I was in the military for 20 years. So
Wow.
Entertainment business is not my forte as far as like the last 25 years, right? And it's taking me a while to kind of get used to, like, I think the first month I was here, I got a jam with the bass player for Earth, Wind and Fire at a house party. Like, it was so cool,
Yeah.
And it was like, and I'm watching these movies on TV, and I'm seeing streets that I've been driving on, and all of the idea of celebrity is kind of, it's not fake, but it's also not real, and it's taken me living here to understand that a little bit better. Before, when the propaganda machine, was out there, and even back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was more powerful because there were only a few channels. There was a few TV channels, your local radio, there was magazines, but it was all smaller, So if you were in any of those publications, like I know that I've read articles about Ronnie, about Foghat, like when I was growing up as a teenager. And it's like, and it's still like, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm here with people that were actually there doing that. It's like, it kind of makes the hair on my arm stand up. But like, so there is Hollywood magic. There is something to that. But I think that I remember one time I was talking with a friend, and I said something about a band I liked, and I knew the guitar player, and he told me what a trashy band they were, and these guys are a bunch of cokeheads or whatever, it's just like all made up, like tabloid stuff. And I was just like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Shut up. And, but I think it's that tough guy keyboard syndrome kind of combined with the fact that people are stressed out. They're falling apart. They're doubting their own reality. Like, man, it's over. The music industry is over. It's over, guys. And maybe they're just looking for hope. Somebody to be like, no, it's not over, guys. I don't know. I mean, but I feel for you on the social media comments. So
but I do love the fact that, Roger just dove in and said, okay, I'm home. I have a vacation for the first time since 1965. I'm going to practice, because another 74-year-old might go, Oh, everything sucks. I'm just gonna, spin Netflix for the rest of my life.
Not him.
But I mean, it's a personal choice, and I know that's kind of hard. And even some of the things that Leighsa touched on, it's putting yourself in a positivity bubble is sometimes difficult. But I think that's kind of the jam in a way. You just have to go. I have time to do other stuff. I have time to grow as a human being.
It's a practice. I mean, I'm not just like this joy all the time. It is a practice to be positive, and it's going to serve us well. So if that's not your inclination, like I always say, do the engineer reversing thing and go through the back door and find a way to make it better. Find a way to make the days better. Find resources. I love this saying, guys, that helped me way in the beginning when Ronnie took his life. I found this thing from Stanley Kubrick, and it said, "No matter how vast the darkness, we must supply our own light." And that I have tell you, Matt, I said that to myself about 50,000 times.
Mm.
It was like, you gotta find your own light. It's up to you now, and when you were talking about your mentor, Grant, I thought, what is it that's aggravating people so much? And what it boils down to, and if you get on Facebook and you're looking for it to be disagreeable or to find opposing comments, it's all about a boundary that got crossed in your belief system. So we all have a right to our belief systems. If you don't like what somebody else is saying or the way it is, just back off, get away from it, but just don't judge. I keep coming back to that, and it's not good.
Well, I also like, as Linda said, you're not going to say this about yourself, Leighsa, but I think it's possible for all of us to find light, as you said, because you're not just spewing shit. You've had to reinvent yourself and find positivity in a lot of shit. Ronnie was sick. You were Ronnie's manager. It was hard sometimes to manage him because I loved that guy, but he was mercurial. He would go in this direction and in that direction. It was hard to kind of, get him to focus on stuff. And then, of course, he passes away. And then you're immediately confronted with having to deal with everybody for the Ronnie Montrose big concert, which was right after he passed, having to go, now I've got to have this huge public thing of something that's private. So, I look to you as someone who's had to deal with, certainly more crap than I've had to deal with, and you have come through it. So I don't think it's just words. And I think that's what inspires me, that, if I want to get down about something, it's just like, well, it's not theoretical. You can change you can change from being a, black cloud person to a sunny rainbows and unicorns if you just try, And I think in a lot of ways, Roger's obviously the same way,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead, Linda?
No, go ahead, Leighsa.
I was just thinking there was this this therapist that I had, and she did this exercise with us, and I thought about it right before we clipped in today. She had us fold this piece of paper in half, and this really helped me. I mean, this was a turning point for me. You fold the paper in half, and you do your timeline from, for me, in my case, or we can take it to today. It was from beginning of my life till the day of Ronnie's death, or take it for yourself through today, through dealing with COVID, and put in the joys, put in the stresses, put in the traumas, put in the celebrations, put in the milestones, put in all, you know what I'm saying? And then flip that page open and look to the right. There's still more of this to be written, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let 2020 and COVID ruin my party.
That's why I love you.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay. So let's just say and both of you guys, I think, have a great deal of experience to speak to this question. Okay. So you're a band right now and you're like, man, I don't know how to make money. I knew how to make money, but now I don't know how to make money. Like, what would be the value of finding a manager, and what can a manager do for you at this time?
The value of finding a manager.
Yeah,
What?
like right. Let's say you were self-managed. There's a lot of bands out there that were self-managing, and now all their connections are dried up because the venues are closed, and they don't have the system that you Linda would have. You've been doing this a long time. You have quite a bit of connections. Leighsa also. Like what really the real question is, what do musicians need to do to like make a living right now? Like
Well,
that's the real question.
it's the same with us right now.
Yeah.
A manager is not going to be able to do a hell of a lot right now anyway, because we're not playing either. We were set to have our best year in 30 years this year. I've already rescheduled over 30 shows, and we've probably canceled about 25 of them, which will probably be rescheduled. We're not playing till next year. We have 5 left on the books, but we don't want to do them. So all the places that we play are closed right now too. Sturgis just happened. I was kind of surprised what went on in Sturgis. We have a few friends that played there, but for us, for instance, we're working on a DVD. We played at Daryl's house last year, and we have a great video, great audio from it. So I'm working on a DVD and a CD. I have some older Foghat material that I never had time to go through this old material, so I'm going through that now. We'll probably release some of the older Foghat material, so there's stuff that we can do to keep things going. And Brian, our guitar player, is our engineer, so he's working with me, on getting stuff. We're doing video editing. So there's things that people can do, if they have things in the archives that they've done.
Right.
As far as playing right now, I don't think that a manager is going to make any difference right now, because their connections right now are dried up too for this year. The only thing they could do is maybe take what you have and put it together and come up with a plan, but I don't know. What do you think, Leighsa? There's nowhere to play right now.
Well, I remember Ronnie used to say, like, oh, records are just selling tools for touring, right? And so, but I've always seen you, ever since I've known you, Linda, you're always trying to supplement or enhance the upcoming tour, right? If you will.
Right.
You're doing singles, you're doing DVDs, you're always doing traction. Roger has a second band, like you got to keep yourself in the mix and massaged and get out there in those ways, and again, that's working the muscle.
Writing, recording. It's not hard to record these days at home. We have a studio in our house in Florida. We've done our last 2 albums there. I'm showing my age, but this is a perfect time to be writing. Look at all the information we have. Look at all the emotion that people are going through right now. Write, record, we're musicians, but put something out there positive, share with, just to share a little story. 'Cause to me, the music is so important to people. We got an email a few weeks ago from a guy who had 2 sons, and he was having trouble with, he's divorced, and all the visitation stuff and everything. His son was turning 11. Huge Foghat fan, huge Roger fan. He caught Roger's sticks at a show last year. He would pay us or donate to any charity of our choice if Roger could call him and wish him happy birthday, because he had his kids for the week. But we did a Facebook Live thing for a half an hour with them. I said, no, you're not paying us. This is what it's about. This kid who is such a fan and just loves music. He's a bass player, and his brother's a drummer. But there's things that you could do right now as musicians, in the music business to make it better for people. We're supposed to be making it okay. There's songs that means Stone Blue. When I was Stone Blue, rock and roll sure helped me through. I can go on for 2 hours and tell you the stories that we've gotten from people on how that got them through an illness, through a divorce, through a death. It matters. It matters, and rather than bitch and moan and complain and everything else, we can do something positive. The problem is when you go to do something positive and you put it on social media, then you have all these people coming out of the woodwork that say negative stuff. You just delete them. That's what Richard Williams did. He deleted the guy. His wife put it up there. Debbie put it up just to call this guy out, but we delete it. You know, I'm so tempted sometimes to say stuff, but you know, we have to kind of suppress that kind of stuff, that negative stuff, and be positive. You know,
Yep.
that's what musicians do. Isn't that what music is supposed to be? Isn't it supposed to be good for people, good for your soul, you know, uplifting, you know, it means something to people.
Well, as Matt always gives me shit for, I mean, I'm a hippie. You know, I was born in the '50s, so you know,
Me too.
yeah, that's what music's supposed to do. But you know, things did get very commercialized, and people realized they could make superstar livings out of this thing if they got the brass ring or the golden ring or whatever. But yeah, I think that that's awesome that you know you Roger had you know that's a very personal thing between a fan and a celebrity. You know that perhaps well, I mean you're special, Linda, because you guys would probably do that anyway. But you know in the pandemic, I think it is an opportunity for artists to yeah, I'll do that. You know, hey, I'll tell you what, don't pay me $100 on Cameo. I'll just wish you a happy birthday or whatever. You know, I mean,
Somebody wanted us to do that on Cameo, and we said the same thing. Just wish somebody happy birthday. What do you have to make $100 on that for? Really? You know, you make a difference. You make such a difference for somebody. We get stuff all the time. You know, my dad was a big fan. He's got cancer. If you could send him something autographed, well, we call him. You know, I mean, it doesn't take much to make a big difference in somebody's life, you know, to bring a little light into somebody's life. It doesn't take a lot on our part, on our end, on the musician end. You know, it really doesn't.
well, I just want to say for a second, thanks to James Thompson, Matt, you should read this. He said, "Yay hippies!" So
Yay, hippies.
yeah,
What do you mean I give you crap about being a hippie, dude?
thank you, James.
What are you talking about?
Michael, I have to tell you one other thing on the social media thing, which was really upsetting to me. We played we were in California in February. We did 3 shows up north of San Francisco, and Joe Walsh, who's probably one of my all-time favorites, posted on his page that they were going to do a concert in memory of the Kent State shootings. It was 50-year anniversary. So I shared his post on the Foghat page. All I said was, wow, 50 years already. That's all I said. I didn't say anything about Kent State, which was pretty horrific. Do you know the venom that came out about Kent State? Do you know what one guy said? He said, yeah, well, we were in Vietnam at the time, and we heard that the National Guard shot over 100 rounds and they only killed 4. I think they needed more training.
Yikes. Well, it's just weird for me where, you know, it's interesting looking back because you realize, you know, these kids were a threat to no one. I mean, they were teenagers. They were somebody's teenage or early 20-something children just going to college and you exercising their right to protest.
Against
you know,
war, right.
Unfathomable when you think of it. Like, who would look back at that and go, yeah, that's, you know, we should have taken more of them out. Those were people's children, you know?
Leighsa, I read that just before the band went on stage. I almost got sick when I read that. Of course, I didn't say anything to him. I just like that's I think that's where I started going before with the social media thing, which is so disappointing, you know. But for every idiot out there, there's 100 great people, you know. So I don't want to get real negative about it, but it's just a little mind-boggling.
Well, yeah. What do you, I mean, this is kind of to the group because this current world, so to speak, has been kind of a mind blower to me. That you could put something on social media that's innocuous or loving or supportive, and somebody will always find a way to knock it. And I think with musicians, especially if you're a Ronnie Montrose or a Foghat, where people might perceive that you're fabulously wealthy living in some castle atop a mountain, you know, well, how can you relate to the middle class or the lower middle class? I mean, it becomes a thing about how dare you say something positive because, you know, you're rich. I mean, it's nutty.
Right. Rich, right? Right, Leighsa, we're rich.
Yes. And what it boils down to, make no mistake, like we were talking before, it is a mind health issue. And there's that going on in play, and think of how many. I'm not going to say the statistics, but there are a lot of undiagnosed mental illnesses going on. So people are doing the best they can with what they have, and then there's shame involved, right, Matt? They don't want to admit that they've got this going on. So um, I think to be aware of that, and like my great grandma used to say, consider the source. Like, what is that message and that spewing? Where is that coming from? And um, just
Well,
observe, and not grab onto it. There's whenever you guys are ready, I can say a few things about support systems. There's that crisis line 741-741 that can help people. That's for depression. Those
It
sorts of
seems like a good segue now. Why don't you share some of
yeah.
those with
Oh,
us?
I'll start with this one that I really like, and I've never talked about it before. Is called Backline Care, and this is a virtual mental health and wellness support group for the music industry, for
hmm.
all the support people. I just love this site. What's cool about them is they have a Zoom support group Mondays and Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can Zoom in, you can talk, you can be anyone in the music industry, and you'll be in this group that's narrated by clinicians, and they close the group with a meditation. Uh, the site also has resources for getting help. You can go in the back of the website and contact a manager. There's resources which I think are super cool, because I feel like, wow, this is something that, hold on just a second, it's coming up, that I
There you go.
that I that I live by. And oh, thank you so much, Matt. Yay. Go to the resource page and you'll see it there. It's pretty cool. You've got the breath work, how to support people. The one at the bottom that I really like is called Food and Mood. Their physical fitness tips. I mean, I didn't even put this together, and I look at this and I'm like, this is how I live. So I really encourage people to check out this website. It's the best. Sweet Relief is another one. There's all that COVID-19 help that you can get support for. If you're not sure, at least reach out. You're on social media anyways. Maybe get off the Facebook and check these out and see if there's support for yourself. There's um, financial support. You'd be surprised. The other ones I was thinking about too is all of the musicians unions. Like there's the one for New York. There's the one that I pulled up was for LA, and they've got a whole page on resources for musicians for COVID-19. Um, how how to fill out your unemployment, how to get a emergency relief fund. Um, there's actors, the Actors and Musicians Fund, Artist Relief, freelance artists. There's all kinds of things there. Go to your musicians union page and check that out. And then again, reach out and talk to someone.
Mhm.
The other thing I was thinking, this isn't a bad time to be bashing the arts, and it hurts me when I hear Linda saying that she's receiving these Facebook posts. So, and I see it myself. I'm like, why do people have to go there? If we'll all take a minute, step back, and remember, artists, honestly, are some of the most altruistic people that I have ever met. And you all know, because you're on the road, you're doing it, you're giving it. How many times have you been asked to do a benefit in 1 year? How many times? And how many times do you say yes? You know what I'm saying? So let's be kind, support ourselves, support each other. And if you do have a mind health issue, get the support that you need. You've got to apply your resources. It's out there. If you're not being resourceful, it's on you. So we have to advocate, and we have to um, be adaptable. The better adaptable that we are, uh, it's going to make us stronger. All of these things that I'm talking about, all the things Linda's talking about, what this podcast is about today, is supporting a grounding foundation for ourselves. right? Getting ourselves through this time. Time is going to pass. And, that's what I've learned with death. Um, you know, just because a death happens doesn't mean life stops. It doesn't. It just keeps trucking along, right? And that's the same with COVID. Right now, we feel like we're suspended in this world. Like, oh, I don't know what to do. I can be trapped in my anxiety and stress and fear and judging. But you know what? It's going to keep on trucking. It's going to keep on going. And we're going to get through this. Just like Linda said, we're going to hit January. We're going to hit early next year. We're all going to be out there doing our thing again. Right now, we can enjoy moments and we can get our help that we need.
Awesome. Also, I just want to say thanks, Tony. He also mentioned Music Cares, which of course
Right.
is the Grammy Foundation thing, a good resource as well.
They have a lot on their page too.
That's what
Yeah.
we did. We did in the last. It was Roger's birthday last couple of months ago, and for a month, we gave all the profits from our merch sales and wine sales to Music Cares that month. I mean, we've helped them out too. I think one of the keys too for people. I mean, I've had to talk. I talk a few people off the ledge every week. I mean, I've talked to quite a few people that are really having a hard time, and I get it. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, we've had hard times too. I've had hard times over the years, and I think it's important if somebody's having a really hard time to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Matt, you live alone. A lot of people are living alone right now. And they need to be able to talk about it. We all have friends, and everybody's afraid to say when they need somebody. I mean, I don't need very often, but the few times I have needed, I've reached out. I've been fortunate enough to have good friends like Leighsa or whatever, but I think it's important for people to reach out, and talk to somebody. Don't just keep it to yourself and get angry and depressed, because there are a lot of people getting very depressed now, and talking about it helps. I mean, it helps. I mean, we're all in this together. We're all going through stuff, and there are resources out there. We've told people we're here if anybody wants to talk. It's a tough time, but we're going to get through it. And next year is going to be kick-ass. I told Roger, don't get yourself too comfortable, man. You're going to be working your ass off next year. I told all the guys that.
Well, I think that's an important thing to say, to reach out. I know sometimes it's been difficult in my life. Probably other people have the same thing. My parents lived through the Depression and World War II, and man, you suffered in silence around these people that my parents, their friends and all that. My dad was incredibly tough. It's like, don't you even dare cry,
Right.
And it's taken a lot of years to try, for me to go, yeah, I got to talk about this because I'm not coping on my own. Now, of course, my dad and most of his friends ended up being alcoholics. They stepped down so far that it came back to bite him in the ass. But, you grow up along, a bunch of people who've lived through some crap, and, and I'm not dissing my dad either. He did the best he could with, the times he grew up in. But it is important to be able to talk about stuff for sure. And the other thing, I'm kind of interested too, that I think would be helpful, Leighsa, which has nothing to do with COVID-19, but, and Leighsa as well. But, you've got Foghat. They kind of explode in the 70s. Everybody's, singing the songs and everything. And they're still around today. I'm sure through that 40 years, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. How has the band managed to kind of strategize their way through the low periods and keep going? Because, man, I got to salute, you and the gang, because, that's a long time to have a band. It's a long time to be active. It's a long time to be able to keep, in the public eye.
Yeah, well, I started working for the band in 76. I was their office manager back then. And then I was with them till the late 79. Then I managed Rod Price when he left Foghat. Then I got out of the music business because I couldn't stand working with musicians anymore. I got into computers, they were a lot less emotional, But then in 97, when Roger and I got together, we became more than friends because we were friends for years. The original band had just gotten back together. And then Dave Peverick got sick and he got cancer and he passed away in 2000. And the band was doing fair in the 90s, 80s and 90s. They were doing a lot of clubs and stuff. And then when Dave died, I kind of got brought on board screaming and kicking, to manage the band. And we found Charlie Yoon, who had been playing with Humble Pie for a number of years because Roger and Dave had seen him when he first replaced Stevie Marius. So we got Charlie as a singer, Brian Bassett, who'd been in the band because Dave Peverick had chosen him. And we put the band back together when Dave died, and it's been an upward climb ever since. The band is great. It's about the music. We went through a lot of shit when Dave died. Believe me, we went through a lot of shit. Oh, this is not the real Foghat. This is that. And our mantra throughout the whole thing was, it's about the music. I mean, Roger is a founding member. It's about the music. Roger loves to play. Period. The end. He loves to play and he loves being in a band. He loves having a band. And it's been 20 years now with this band, and it's gotten better and better and better. And we all like each other, and we all have a good time, and they all love to play. And all of our crew and office, we have a great family, right, Leighsa? We all get along. 20 years, and we all get along great, and we all like to play. And it's about the music, And the fans have been terrific. In the beginning, I used to have to comment, like especially on social media. Now I let the fans handle it. In the rare occasion that somebody says, "Oh, it's not this," no, it's not the same since Lonesome Dave died. Lonesome Dave died. He's not here. We miss Lonesome Dave too. He was my friend too. Rod Price was my friend too. They died. It's not like we said, "You're not playing, we're playing." They died. So we have a great agency. We have a great team. We work hard. And we have a good time, and it's about music. So
when it's a legacy act like that, when you took over in 97, I mean, was it, were clubs and managers and record companies, whatever, were they going, Foghat, really, please? Or did the name and the legacy actually help you start up?
No, the name and the legacy was always there. But in the 80s, Dave left, went back to England in 86. So Roger had the band, with 3 of the guys and another singer. So there were a few incarnations of the band. Mm-hmm. And also, music changed. The classic rock thing, we had more like new wave stuff, punk stuff, metal, rap. We had a lot of other stuff happening. But I found, like, I took over in 2000, not 97. But since I took over, the classic rock bands have had a resurgence, and we have our niche. Mm-hmm. We don't play all the places at all the bands, but we have our niche, and we know our niche. We do festivals, we do street fairs, we do casinos, we do theaters. We have our niche, and I don't try to push us somewhere where we don't belong, and we have a great fan base. We have great audiences, and they're nice guys. They do a meet and greet after every show. After every show, they sit at a table and they sign autographs and they hug and they take pictures with their fans, sometimes for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they're tired after a show. And, the venues and the promoters appreciate it, and so do the fans. But, the thing with Foghat, they know they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the fans.
Yeah.
So you have to take care of the people that have supported you all these years, and we are very grateful to them. We have a great fan base, So.
And I guess you guys have never done the, now it got to be the thing to like charge for meet and greets or charge for VIP experience.
No, and I cannot tell you how many people have been on my case about not charging for meet and greets. And you know what my response is?
Yeah.
Really? We do meet and greets. We appreciate our fans. We're not going to charge. I mean, look, I apologize to the bands that do charge for meet and greets. That's fine. That's fine. We don't do that. You know, we just feel like where would we be without our fans? We'd be playing to an empty audience, you know, an empty venue. So we appreciate our fans. And Roger's very much of that mind. And his imprint is very much on this band, and that's the way. And it's a band, you know. It's a band in every sense of the word, you know. But that's very much his head, the way he is with people. You know, he's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good guy.
And before we have to pop off, you know, Leighsa, same question for you. I mean, you have to manage Ronnie's legacy and career going all the way back to the first Montrose records to, you know, the acoustic records, to the record that just came out, you know, 10 by 10 recently. What is it like having to manage such a breadth of content? And, you know, what are some of the things you've learned trying to keep Ronnie in the public mind?
Well, I have to say Linda was my anchor because she, like, when this all came down back in 2012, she really clued me into how to navigate artist legacy, you know, estate management. And I owe a lot to her. That's why I wanted her to be here with us today. I think part of it was me just learning that new language of music. Yes, I knew how to do contracts. I knew how to negotiate and do the shows and manage Ronnie, but I wasn't versed in royalties and syncing and all of that. And I was like, huh, what? You know, and here I am in grief stricken, and I'm having to learn this new language and this new speak, and it was a lot. So luckily I got taken care of. I'm very, very happy and very grateful for Linda. Now, after all these years, I knew, maybe say the last year and a half, it was going to start running itself. But there was a lot of working up to that to make it this way.
And everybody came out of the woodwork when Ronnie died.
Yeah.
After Leighsa. I mean, it was ridiculous. The record companies, and we want to put this out and that. And I would say, whoa, just, yeah, that was pretty nasty. You know, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, all for their attainment. And I didn't even understand what I was reading. I would pass an email to Linda and go, oh, this sounds good. And she's like, no, that's bullshit.
No.
I didn't know, but I want to see the good in everything, right? So I'm like, this is great. No, so I got schooled. I got schooled in many ways. And, you know, some days I said it was like I got caught in the undertow, and then some days I was just riding this cool wave, you know.
Well, we are at the top of the hour, and I wanted to thank Linda and Leighsa both for coming on the show and sharing their experiences with us. Thank you so much. I wanted to give everybody a last chance to have a closing comment. So we'll start with Michael, and then Leighsa, and then Linda will have the last word.
Yeah. Well, my closing comment is just thank you, Linda and Leighsa. It's been, you know, it's been informative. It's been inspiring, and hopefully people out there in the Kingdom of Rock who are listening will be inspired as well. And just have hope. Have hope.
Yeah. I think my thing is just take care of yourselves, advocate for yourselves. You know, if you're planning for certainty, you're always going to get screwed. That's that. Right?
Yeah.
Failure. Don't do it to yourself. You know, some people don't like change. I'm sorry. One of Ronnie's colleagues said to me, I want my old life back. I'm like, newsflash, that's not going to happen. None of us get that. I want my old life back too. You know, but I didn't get that. So let's make the best of this and be together. We'll do it together.
Well, my thing is don't waste time.
Yeah.
We only have X amount of time left on this planet. You have X amount of minutes, X amount of days left in your life. Don't waste a day, really. There's always something that you could find that's positive in a day. Even if you just, Roger and I sat there the other night and watched the clouds going by, you know, just, I can't remember the last time we were able to do that. When we're always coming back from the airport, going to the airport, you know, so take some time to just relax and enjoy the moment, because you only have X amount of moments left. And thank you, Michael and Matt and Leighsa. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
It was. Thank you, everyone.
Well, and I just wanted to say in closing, everybody out there in Kingdom of Rock. We know everybody's going through a lot of stress, a lot of difficulty right now. And we hope that if you do get in a situation where the negativity won't stop, that you'll get some help. You'll go talk to somebody, whether it's somebody at, a friend or somebody at a church, religious organization, a psychologist. I'm a vet with PTSD. So I spent about 20 years of my life drinking 10 beers a night because I was afraid to go get help. Right. And it took me a crisis. It took my life falling apart before I was like, I'm going to go get help. Right. But I had anxiety and I had things happen to me and I didn't deal with it. Right. But like, we're all going through our own varying versions of a crisis right now. And it's not a big deal if you start to fall apart, because it's hard. Right. So build that network up, get some people on your side, talk to some people, get help. Do not get trapped in despair, because you got to, like Linda was saying, don't waste your day. Right. Today I had some stuff going on that was stressing me out. I got rear-ended the other day, just a dumb thing. Right. But it's one of the nicest cars I've ever owned. And it's the only car that I have. And I'm like, man. And so I was bummed out and I kind of was being lazy all day and I didn't do anything. And it was pointless for me to do that and let that affect me. But at the same time, being here and talking to you guys, I actually feel a little bit better, because I know that we're all going through stuff.
Good.
And I appreciate Michael. You've been a great friend to me through this crisis. And I'm really glad that we did this series. And it's been an inspiration, just getting a chance to talk to all these people and hearing their story. And thank you again, Linda and Leighsa, for being on the show. And I'm Matt Gibson. And Mike, you look like we're going to say something.
Well, I just want to put a warning out there. If you open yourself up and you beam into the universe for help, and my dad, Charles Molenda, answers the call, someone else to help you. That's all I'm saying. Ask someone else. Sorry, Dad.
Bye.
Buddy.
All right, guys.
Bye.
We're out. Peace out.